So as you can see, the fret wire is overhanging just a little bit. Kind of sharp, pointy, and we're going to use this to wick in the CA glue. So what I've done is I've filled an X-Acto blade, a number 11 X-Acto blade container. I've put some CA glue in there, water thin CA glue. And I'm going to dip an X-Acto blade in this and use that to wick the glue into the fret bead. So here we go. Doesn't take much, just a drop. And it will run in to the fret slot. Come on, you. There we go. And I'll do that for all of the frets, and then I'll spin the neck over and do it from the other side. And now I'm going to actually go over on the surface of the fretboard and wick some in on the side of the fret bead, especially for areas like this, where you can see, you know, some of the crumble and where the lacquer was cut, you know, it crumbles away a little bit. And so wicking it in will serve two purposes. It will get the CA glue right across, you know, because when I put it in from the ends, I don't know how far it penetrates, but probably not all the way across. And so this will penetrate in the middle area where it's important, and it will also kind of solidify this crumbling lacquer that's right up along the edge. So let's see. Get some CA glue and I dip the blade in. And just lay it right alongside the bead. Not enough glue. Maybe get some more, pour some more glue in a container here. Alright, let's try this again. We'll lay it right alongside the bead. Yeah, there we go. There. And that kind of amalgamates that cut lacquer, so it's not crumbly anymore. I just know some people are saying, why glue? Why? Because I want the fret to be seated and really connected to the neck, to the fingerboard. And with the glue in there, it's much better that way. It's a tonal thing. Have you ever come across a guitar that has a dead spot? You know, one of the frets is just, the note is dead. It sounds like mush. It's got no sustain compared to its neighboring notes. Chances are that you have a springy fret, meaning that if you take a good close look at it, push down on the end. So, I mean, it's usually either the end or the middle. And if you see it spring up and down, that is frittering away a lot of the string's energy because it's not connected to the neck. So the glue serves two purposes. One, it freezes the fret in. Once you've pressed it in and it's nice and tight, yes, it freezes it in, but it also connects all the tiny little voids between the fret wire and the wood and gives it just a much more solid connection. You can check, going back to the guitars that have that dead note, the dead spot. Easy to check it out. Take a box wrench like this and tap along the fret wire. You hear that? That's the sound of a nicely seated fret. Nice tack, 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 tack. When you get to a spot where the fret is springy, it will sound completely different. You know, let's say that the end of the fret is springy and the rest is not. So you'll be going across it, it'll be tack, 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 and then tunk, where it's springy. And that's where your dead note is. The reason I'm keeping the file a little skewed this way, rather than filing straight on, is because I have more control over, you know, if I go straight on like this, there's a chance that I could slip and go down the frets like this with the edge of the file and, you know, just gouge the crap out of them. So when I'm holding it like this, I have much better control. Getting close at this end. Now I'm going to concentrate on this up here. Alright, I'm really close. I haven't even kissed the lacquer anywhere yet. So I'm going to switch to a bit of a finer file and continue. Alright, so check it out. I've got this side filed down flush, flip the neck over, and you know, was just about to start filing this side down flush when I noticed something. Fret number 8, the tang doesn't actually come all the way out. Let's see if I can get a closer shot of this for you. Alright, so now the question is what to do. Structurally, the fret is perfectly fine. It's glued in, it's solid, the tap tone across the fret is perfect, and after all, when you are doing a refret with binding, you're undercutting the tang, so it's just basically the same as that, but I don't like it. It won't look good because there'll be one tang missing when you look down the side of the fingerboard and see the shiny tang. It's just sloppy. So I'm going to go ahead and pull that fret out and redo it. So I popped out fret number 8, same way as before with the soldering iron. This soldering iron was especially necessary this time because the fret was glued in, so you know, the heat had to break the glue. But it came out clean, no problems. And I've got a new piece of fret wire cut. Now, the one thing that I don't want to do is have to deal with filing this new fret end flush on the side that I already filed. And the reason for that is because it will be very difficult to put the file over one single fret and not have it rock and not have either the front or the back of the file touch an area and start scratching up some lacquer. Alright, and then when I set this in, when I give it the initial tap with my dead blow hammer, I'm going to set this fret wire in as close to flush as possible, maybe just a tiny little bit proud, because I still will file it, but I have a little bit of a trick to filing it without touching the neck with the end of the file. Alright, so the fret is installed. Here it is, number 8, and as you can see in the close-up, it's just sticking out a little bit proud. Now, I mentioned that I have a little trick for leveling this out without the file scratching the lacquer at the end of the file, right? Because it's going to sit on just the one fret and it'll rock back and forth like this. So what I'm going to do is take this file, which is a fairly thin and flexible file, and almost no file is perfectly straight. So what I'm going to do is take my straight edge and find out which side of the file might be a convex curve. So this side, my straight edge is telling me that this side of the file has a curve like this, right? And what I'm going to do, just for extra safety, is put a piece of masking tape on the end of the file, so that the end of the file does touch the lacquer. The masking tape will prevent it from digging in. And same thing at the other end. And now the reason for the using a thin flexible file is so that I can push down on it and just file the spot that I want. And you'll know you're there when the file doesn't grab the metal anymore and kind of skates over the lacquer. And we're there. So here we are. The frets have been trimmed flush on both sides of the fretboard. And I actually bolted the neck back on the guitar and strung it up with just the low and the high E string because I wanted to check that the nut height was still okay. Because of the new height of the fret wire, the nut might be too low, and it is too low, so I'm going to replace this with a bone nut. Alright, so the first thing I'm going to do to get the nut out is to score the lacquer. As you can see, it's painted in, so I want to make sure that no lacquer chips come up when I try to pull this nut out. So I score it along the bottom and the two ledges. Looks good. And the other side, same thing. Nice sharp X-Acto blade for this stuff. I reserve an old dull, worn out one for laying that CA glue into a fret bead. Alright. And we'll also score down this side, down this side. So now I'm going to use a block of maple, and I'm just going to ram it into the nut. Not too hard. I want to make sure I don't, bust this part of the maple out. Just enough to break the glue. And here we are with my fret pullers doubling as a nut puller. Alright,